Vénganse, vénganse, vénganse. Vamos a jugar hoy, hoy, hoy. Vamos a cantar hoy, hoy, hoy. Vamos a llorar hoy, hoy, hoy. Vamos a fumar hoy, hoy, hoy.
Raymond Andrew
Bienvenidos
is here, and we have this very thorough and eclectic agenda that we carefully curated and thought out.
There she is, ladies and gentlemen.
Natalie Stephanie.
What up, Nat?
The woman with two first names. She has two first names
So do
as her complete name. So do you.
Yeah, Raymond Andrew.
That's
Natalie
weird.
Stephanie.
That's weird.
And Rickie Lee. Well, no, Lee is not a first name, is it?
It could be. I'm working with a lady tomorrow, and her first name is Lee, but it's Leigh. Way different.
Isn't that how Amy spells hers?
Yes.
That is.
That is how she spells it.
She doesn't like it.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about it.
I did meet somebody, though. We're doing their wedding on Saturday, and like the music that they want, it's like 70s, my favorite. So
70s music?
I love 70s music. It's the best. But so I was, I talked to her on the phone today, matter of fact, and she says, "Oh my God, I love your name, Rickie Lee." She's like, "You know, I love Rickie Lee Jones. Do you know who Rickie Lee Jones is?" I said, "Ma'am, I was named after Rickie Lee Jones."
That's crazy. That's got to be cool, though.
I've never had anybody know exactly who that person was.
I think I asked you that the first time I met you.
Meaning like literally putting it together because of the way that my name is spelled and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I was happy about that.
70s. I love 70s. I like 70s funk. But even like 70s rock and 70s soul was a lot different. Like there was, I think because we're the state that the world was in, like late 60s, early 70s was pretty fucking insane.
It wasn't, yeah.
I mean, and we weren't even alive to be able to experience it, but...
Oh, you know what? Speaking of being alive, I was watching, Hulu came out with a documentary about JFK, like the day he got shot, and they're interviewing like the last remaining survivors, witnesses that were a part of that whole thing.
No way.
And they're in their like 90s, 80s, 90s years old, you know, and they're talking about everything. So I started watching it, and I know everybody knows the story. You know what happens. But I stopped like a portion of the way through when they were talking about, I didn't know that he was literally on his wife's, like in her arms. Oh my God, it was crazy.
It was in the car, right?
Yeah, it was in the car. And so she was like holding on to him. And then when they got to the hospital, she wouldn't move. And they're like, "We have to move. Like, we need to get the body." She would not. She was just like, and then
she was still in shock.
She was still in shock. And then one of the security guards grabbed a jacket or a blanket, whatever, and they covered his body. And that's when she let go. When they covered his body and then they took him in.
That made it real.
I think so. But what made me stop was they're in, you know, he's on the operating table. Everybody's there. And then the surgeon turns around and says, "What's the president's blood type?" And that she like lifted up her head and was like, "He's still alive?" I had to turn it off right there. I was like, "Oh my God, like that's so heartbreaking."
That's like
fuck, she had hope.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah, and I didn't know that because it's so clearly she thought he was dead. Like, and can you just imagine that image in your head, like your husband's?
I think everybody's like, I think no matter who it is, I think everybody would do that. Everybody would think about something like that, right? Like, say you and one of like your closest friends is out and about, and you guys are like just having a good time, right? And then all of a sudden, pop, and then you're like sitting there holding them or her, whoever it may be, and you're just like, "Oh shit!" Like, I think right away that your idea would be, "Oh shit, this fool was fucking dead."
Have you ever held anything that was dying in your arms?
No, I've held things that have already been dead.
So I was telling you how last year, Oscar, the greatest pet I've ever had in the world, the greatest, most perfect dog that we had for 13 years, we had to put him down. Like, that was it, right? So they're like, do you want to be in the room like when it happens? Oh my God, it was the worst. No, it wasn't the worst, but it was just the most, like, you can feel the life leave. That shit was crazy.
Yeah,
it was
gotta
crazy.
suck. I don't know what happened. I don't think it's been a human.
Thankfully.
I don't think.
Well, no, actually, I'm lying to you. Well, my Aunt Rosie was still alive. But when I said goodbye, like, she died the next day. And she was, essentially, you did see the body decay and, you know, go through its process of transitioning. But damn, like, yeah, that's a whole thing. And it's going to happen, right? We're going to die. I just want to die fast and quick.
You know what's crazy is there's people that are afraid of death.
I'm not. I welcome it.
Yeah, so
I just don't, not a slow one.
Yeah.
Just not a slow one. Just quick.
Look at Vinny.
Oh,
Vinny said, "Oh, serious convo today."
Oh, you should have heard what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
It was the opposite of. Oh, not eight. Brand says,
I never want to die.
I never want to. Well, so technically, do we really die? I mean, the physical body dies, but do you believe that energy just transfers? Mm-hmm. You know, like, not necessarily like reincarnation, but just energy goes from one thing to another. Like, do you believe you had other lives?
I don't think I've had other lives. I think there's a life after this.
Okay.
And I don't know if we come back in a different form, but I believe that there would have to be some type of life after this.
What if there's nothing, Ray?
Then I guess we just died. Like, how would you even know you're dead? That's like the mystery about it, right? Like that, like, I don't know. How the fuck did we get on talking about dying?
But I'm realizing I kind of low-key had a fascination about like what does happen after you die, right? So my neighbor he used to live in front of us. His name was Dan, and he was our neighbor for like 1,000 years. And he was kind of estranged from his kids. He had 2 kids, and they just like they were estranged. I think we interacted with their kids like a couple times. So he kind of looked to my brother and I as kind of like an extension of like his kids. He was always looking out, skinny old, I think he was, I don't remember Dan's last name, bald, smoking his life away, right? So he gets cancer. He gets lung cancer. And he's basically gonna die. And his wife calls. What happened?
He said that she goes with 1,000 years ago. You do set yourself up.
I know. I'm gonna start saying prehistoric years.
But
so she calls us and she's like, he's not gonna make it. He's this is it. Like, come say your goodbyes. We go to San Antonio Hospital, and I got in trouble with the nurse because I'm saying my goodbye to Dan, and I'm like, Dan, you're the greatest neighbor. La 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 la. Dan, I was like, I'm gonna have a candle on my nightstand next to me. When you die, find a way to light it, and I'll know there's an afterlife. But if you don't light it, then I know that you're just going to die and that's it. We're going to call it a day. There's nothing after it. This man starts laughing, right? But it disrupted whatever breathing treatment that he had. So the nurse was like, you need to stop making him laugh. La, la, la.
She's all butthurt about it.
Yeah. So they kicked me out. But I have always had this fascination about it.
There you go, fucking interrupting death.
Where did you see that?
I'm saying that.
Oh, you're telling me I was interrupting death?
Yes. I'll leave it to you, though, like, to just barge in, like, hey, not yet. Like,
don't forget to turn on a candle.
Yeah, don't forget to put that candle on.
Let me give you these instructions.
Blow it out. Blow out the candle for me. But I don't know.
I was helping him. But so let me ask you this. Like, let's say I get into this, like, terrible accident and, like, it's just not looking good for me. But it's not looking good for me, but everybody still is like trying to hang on, right? Like, oh, don't lose hope, Rickie. It's going to be okay. Just pray. Da, 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 da. And everybody's coming in and everybody's, feeling like, oh, no, it's good. You're going to make it. You're going to make it. And I look at you and I tell you, Ray, I'm not going to make it. Cut the cord right now. Would you do it?
Shit. I mean, if you told me to, but then again, I don't really
listen.
Well, no, because I don't listen to you now.
Okay, right. So this is a life and death situation. Like you, Ray, you're seeing me suffer. You're looking at me, and that's not the person.
Wait a second.
This is not gonna be it, right?
Is this you telling me right now? Just pull the. Do I have? Do I have?
This is on record now,
Like-
right? And I'm just legitimately telling you, and you know everybody would be pissed.
Samantha says, "Don't leave that to."
I'm gonna end up on the machine like 10 years later.
Ironically, because her and I have had this conversation. So not so. I don't know. I think we've talked about this before, but after Samantha had Josh, she had like a really tough pregnancy. So then she ended up getting sick, like towards like actually giving birth. Like,
Okay.
So and after she delivered him, you know, you guys end up seeing your primary doctor after for like a checkup.
Yeah, yeah.
So we go to have this checkup with her primary doctor, and then all of a sudden, she's looking at everything, and she was pretty upset because Samantha's OBG didn't notice a lot of things that she should have noticed that would have prevented like everything that happened
After.
during
Okay.
giving birth. So the primary doctor tells us both, like, hey, if you guys want to have kids again, like, is a really, really, really high chance that it's... And she looked at me when she said this. She goes, you're going to have to pick your child or your wife.
I think I remember you telling me something about that.
So it was just like...
Ugh. Jesus.
So Samantha, like, long story short, Samantha and I ended up having that conversation. Even, like, now we'll, once in a while, revisit that conversation. And she's always just said, like, hey, I live my life, save my kid. And I'm just like, that's so fucking hard to
Okay,
like...
so you would rather your new kid, the new little one coming in, live without a mother?
No. Because if I, like, regardless, she would live without a mother.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So, right, so that little baby, you'd be okay. Because...
Me personally, like, it's my wife, so I would want you to do everything you can to save her. But in this instance, you're saying, like, you or Samantha would say specifically, like, DNR, like, that's
aren't
it.
all lives important? Like, how would you know which life is the priority? Oh, hell no.
That's the thing I'm saying. Like, you're telling me right now, like, hey,
Yeah,
if I'm on my deathbed, just fucking step on the plug, bro. We're good.
Right.
Because then you're not, like, I'd have to fucking live with that shit. Like, and even though
we're all
even though I know that, like, I'm not if it's an illness or whatever it is that caused you to be in that state, I'm not the reason for it, but I'm the reason for why. Like, I would not want your daughters to be pissed at me.
Yeah, because over here in their head, they're thinking like, hey, you know, like, no, there's hope, and,
Yeah,
and even if I'm telling them like I'm done, I'm good, like, let's go, they won't. Like, I don't know, that's hard. And I've asked my parents that too. I was like, what do you guys want?
I think that's everybody, though. I think everybody, like, no matter what, like, I think everybody would say that, whether it's for ourselves or with someone that you love. Like, in general, you're just like, fuck, I just wish it was just a little bit more.
So, but here's the thing, though, right? Like, if you treat people
good,
no, like
don't treat them like shit. You won't feel bad when they die.
But think about it. What is it that you experience with a person, right? What you experience with the person is conversation, time, right? The exchange of energy. That's what it is, right? Mm-hmm. And all of those things, at the bare minimum, are non-physical things, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to touch that. You don't need to even see that. You can just hear that and feel that, right? So hearing the relationship that you have with the other person, spending time, you know, whatever, it's an audible thing, and it's a feeling, right? Mm-hmm. The exchange of all of that. If the physical body just isn't here anymore.
Well, see, that's the crazy part. Because then, like, say after, like, someone passes, right? I think, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I've experienced times where I'm, like, doing something and, like, stop, like, dead in my tracks, and I could hear about, like, the voice or the reaction that you would, like, assume that person is, like, hey, if this person was here, this is, and you could, because even now, like, I could hear Samantha's voice, or I could hear your voice, like even through like reading a fucking text message, right? Like I could read, especially if a person texts the way they speak, like you do. Like you do this thing where it's like, wait, and then you'll say like 2 lines and then continue with and the same way you speak is the same way you type. I don't know if you ever fucking noticed that.
Have you ever questioned my tone?
Like in a negative light?
No. Or just like you're reading
No.
the tone a certain way and you're like, wait, I don't know if she really means it like that or not.
No, because I think we know each other well enough now that we're just like, oh, this one's not gonna bug her.
Okay.
Or this isn't something that she's like too, because I think we've had like every type of fucking conversation. We've had serious ass fucking conversations. Yeah. We have dumbass conversations, and it's like what you think is really how you come across. And that's also how you express yourself in your writing, especially because for you, writing is a big form of
communication and expression. Yeah, and it's so funny you mentioned that because, like, I like to be like Amy says, like I'm very clear. I do like to be clear, descriptive, grammatically correct. For me, like when I see people go back and edit their messages, even though I understood what they were trying to say, but they go back to fix it. I'm like, you love me. You love me. Like, you took the time to go back and correct something.
I don't know if it has anything to do with love. I just I don't think they want to be looked like as a dumbass.
Do you know how many people do not edit their messages or just leave it or don't like? I'm like, bro, did you read this back to yourself out loud?
Because I've had dialogue with people, and like even like on a negative like type of dialogue where it's just like back and forth. Like, the minute you misspell something, I'm not going to fucking take you serious.
That's the biggest turnoff in the world.
It's not even a turnoff, but it's like, bro, you can't... Like, who am I? I'm arguing with someone that can't even fucking read or write.
And you even have spell check on your phone. Like, you have all these resources.
It's suggesting, hey, dumbass, you're not spelling this correctly. And you swipe it away like you know what you're talking about.
Right. So Amy says that the editing messages, she does it for herself, not necessarily for the recipient.
Yeah, I do it for me. I don't do it for you.
I mean, I do it for me because I don't want to look like a fucking dumbass or someone who doesn't know how to go back and. But then
you take it as someone is editing because they know they're texting it to you, so you.
No. For me, the fact that someone's taking the time to correct something, it tells me a lot about the person. They're careful, they're cautious, they relook at their shit, like they wanna present themselves well. Like all of those things are meaningful things. So when I see somebody that does it, I'm like, okay, that tells me something about that person.
In today's world, I think you have to be very specific. And there shouldn't be any room for error like that, because there's some people. Like, just in normal conversation, some people are just dumb. Like, if I say, hey, go park over here, and this is where we're going to meet, and then I'm getting, like, 10 million fucking messages about how is this going to be. Like, wait, you said to do what? It's like, fool, it's literally written, and you're not understanding what I'm saying? Like...
Okay, but for the record, I think that sometimes, like...
Comprehension?
I'm not really good with certain things either. Like, you're giving me directions, and I'm like, fuck, like, oh, you want me to do what? Go this way, that way after a long day? But, two, I worry about that for that same reason. If I know I'm going to go somewhere, right? I want to make sure I know all ways possible, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying I appreciate when somebody edits. Thank you for editing.
Yeah, so another brand says grammar and spelling police is some pedantic stuff. I don't know. For me, I do it for me. Like, I just can't. I want you to take me serious. So, like, if I'm trying to say the and I just put a T and an H, I'm going to be like...
Okay, this is interesting.
Toby Danza. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Perfect. No. But see, that wasn't a type. It was a typing. I read it. But still... I could hear your voice, so I felt like you said it, and maybe you had like a stuffy nose, Amy. So when you said it in my chat, you were like Tony Danza, but she had a stuffy nose, so I heard Toby Danza.
Oh my god!
Like, watch Toby Danza, like not Tony, Toby. Like, you know what's funny though? You could tell when people speak to text. When people speak to text,
I can't do that.
Like that's how you know we all have some type of accent, because that bitch does not understand anything we're saying, and then we look at it and it's like, whoa, what the hell? Like, why? So autocorrect.
Oh, like auto tune. So Not 8 Brand says grammar does not equal smart. Is just a.
I like what Not 8 Brand is doing though. He said, "Who made those rules though?" Even though he spelled thought. See.
I didn't even see that. I didn't even see that. But that's a good point too. That's a very.
Now he's like, hey, fuck it. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna make up my own rules. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are no rules. There is no box.
I know when me and Samantha get in arguments and we both start like missaying things. Like she's like, you know what the fuck I'm saying?
Don't make me say it again.
Yeah, don't be fucking asking dumb questions. You know what I said.
Vinny says I have an accent and English is my only accent.
My only language.
So, has anyone told you that you have an accent?
I don't know. Like, I don't think anyone's told me I have an accent, but I know I have like.
What's an accent?
He said a California accent. Yeah, we have accents and attitudes. He said get on Duolingo.
All of the above. All of the above. But,
how good is, like, see, all these people that made up, like, Not 8 Brand is saying, like, who made this shit up anyways? Because I have this conflict with when I'm doing, like, homework with my daughter. Mm-hmm. Because I got to explain to her that even though that word says this, and for the longest time we've been saying that these words sound this way, and now we get to this word and it sounds nothing like what we just said, it's fucking confusing you. And guess what? That shit just don't make no fucking sense. And it's okay if you get it wrong. Like, to me, I'm like, hey, get it wrong.
You're gonna get things wrong in life, period,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so Escalade says, if I don't understand your emotions through text, I'm calling you for clarity.
Oh, yeah.
So here's the thing.
So you would do that with people, I'm assuming you would do that with people that you don't really know. Like, because, again, you would do that with people
you do know.
You and I communicate a lot. Mm-hmm. And most of it is through text message anyways.
Right.
Unless we're in person and it's...
Right.
And it's like, hey, like, so I know...
I think you can feel somebody's tone and you can feel someone's expression through text.
If you know the person, though. If you don't know the person, like, it's not like me and Escalade text each other all the time. But I'm pretty sure I would assume that he's not mad. Like, just him in general doesn't seem like an upset type of person.
So I posted something on Instagram the other day about it's this Key and Peele skit where they're two different people and they're texting each other and they both are interpreting their text messages in a completely different way. And they're both fair. Yeah. I was dying. I was cracking up because I think I've been both of those people. I've been both of those people where I'm reading something totally wrong.
You're just trying to interpret what they're saying. But even at that, like, are they even... You ever like run into people that use big words and they're not using them properly?
Yeah, it's always...
It's like, man, you're really trying.
And you just let them try. I don't say anything. I just let them try. Okay,
we laugh about it later.
I'm listening to it. I take it all in.
And I'm going to be honest. I'm like... We've had this conversation where you're like, hey, I don't think you're an asshole. I'm an asshole. Like, I will look at you until you get it right.
Okay, so check this out. So Amy and I had this discussion a couple months ago, right? Because, like, you're an asshole, but I think I'm a bigger asshole.
Nah.
But hear me out, right?
Okay.
I'm trying to think. I don't even know if anyone's ever really seen my capacity
of assholeness
to destroy another human being.
I've seen it. I've seen it, and sometimes I was.
Hey,
like,
that was mild then.
No.
Oh my God, because it could have been so much worse.
No.
Oh, trust me.
Nah.
Trust me. But here's the thing, and I learned this at a very young age, right? Like, I understood how powerful words were, and I understood how that could really crush another human being.
It could, and it could be the smallest thing, right? Like, it could be something where, like, you say something to one person, and if that person goes and tells everybody, man, can you believe they told me this? And everybody else would be looking at them like, are you acting like a bitch? That wasn't that bad. But to them, it was like end of the world. So
I know that I have the capacity to just like annihilate another human being with just words. And I'm fully aware of that. And there's so many times I want to do all that.
Is it because you read a lot? I feel like you would do it with words that no one knows. That would piss me off the most. Being
No,
attached.
no.
If
Because
someone-
I need the other person to understand. I need no room for doubt. I need you to clearly understand how I want to just annihilate you as a human being.
If someone insulted me
Insulted?
intelligently, I'd be so fucking mad. But,
Okay, I would not. I'd be turned on. I'd be like, say more. Give me those words.
This is no longer a fight.
Give me those words. Give me that honesty.
Say it again. Roll the R. Stupid. You're dumb, dude.
But do you see how, like, I either need to level up the people I hang around with if I'm like that easily excited about.
No, that's just. I think the people you're around are okay with who you are. Mm-hmm. Like, and then we're not accepting you like the gimp puppy. We're like, we just know who you are. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm glad you guys know who I am.
Because I've told you this shit all the time. Like, you're very like for a cool minute, you were very impulsive. Like, you would just be like, "Bink," like, "Yo, wait, not yet." Slow down.
That and I've actually learned to embrace that.
But that's what makes you you, and that's why certain things and opportunities have been able to come across our way because of that, right? So
100%.
If you still have it, like, don't take it away. Don't fucking shush it away. Keep that shit and do it when you feel like, fuck this, I'm gonna be impulsive right now.
You know what's funny? I read there's an actress. Fuck, I can't remember her.
Looking for the book. Not 8 Brand says, does she write? She does write. Dude, I don't know. See, Not 8 Brand. If you were watching us in our second season, we were actually positioned in a different way, and we have a door full of sticky notes, and those sticky notes have all of Rickie's ideas for a Netflix special.
That Ray said we should have a Netflix special. So this is it. This is the book I was looking for. So this is Jennifer Lewis. She's the mother of Black Hollywood. And she,
is she the one with the raspy voice?
Yes, she's a great singer too. But her book heavily, she's bipolar. She's bipolar. And
Is she?
Yeah, so she talks about how it was really difficult to get help, to find the right help, and then to find the right cocktail of medication that you needed to understand what was going on. Mm-hmm. But she tells a story, and this is kind of where I thought, damn, like, okay, she's defining that as impulsive, right? She's driving, there's yard sales going on, and she's with her niece, and she was going through a manic episode at the time. And she sees the house across the street from the yard sale is for sale. The whole house itself was for sale. And the niece goes, "Oh, I like that house. That's a nice house." And she goes, "Oh, I love that house too. You know what? I'm going to buy it. Let's go buy it." And so she talks about how she made a really impulsive decision, a financially impulsive decision. And she was talking about how those are some of the effects of being, bipolar. Like that's, you bought a whole, she goes, "I didn't need the house. I had a house. I had multiple. There was no need for me to purchase this house." But she really, really dives into, this is a great book.
So are you telling me you're bipolar?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm like, wait, what's the point here?
The impulsivity, like when I think about the things I really could have been impulsive about, or when I think about the things that I really could have done, or those risks that I really would have taken, I don't really do that.
Don't think you're...
I've just been like very reserved about things, and I've been very, which it may not be perceived that way from people, but it's definitely like a restrained version of myself, like. Because I have always been told, "Shh, don't talk too loud, don't say too much."
Yeah, I remember having that conversation. But that happened at a young age. These are things that the word I'm about to say is, I think, very, I don't know, would you say it's taboo? But it's like, that's the way you're conditioned. You know what I mean? Like,
the way.
but it's. I think we all have that, right? Like we were talking earlier about. Like just going through things in life, and then like realizing like it's gonna be okay, right? And my mom, when I was young, took me to go see some doctor.
Oh, this is a good story.
And
can I move this, or is this gonna make the book fall? Okay, good.
And I was just like, at that age, I was just upset at the world about a lot of shit.
How old were you?
Oh man, I was like 10, maybe 11.
Okay.
I want to say
preteen.
I was just like pissed at the world for whatever. Like a lot of people telling me I can't do shit. A lot of people, like one of the examples that I remember that I could relate to when I tied what I mentioned to him, and his response was about my mom's aunt, my great aunt, and how everybody was like, yeah, she loves you, and she just like loved how you were like, she would always call you like a doll, because you would just sit there and stare and not move, not fuss, not do nothing.
You were a Michael Moda baby?
I don't know, I guess.
Oh shit. Okay, sorry.
But so then she, like, I heard all these cool things about her, and it would make me mad because everybody experienced that with her, and I never got to experience that. I experienced it at an infant stage, which nobody remembers their infancy, right? Like, can you remember everything about being an infant like that?
I don't think you have to remember it. I think it just becomes a part of who you are. Like innately, it's in your blood, in your bones, in your energy. And maybe that's also why you were even more mad, because maybe an unconscious part of you remembered that exchange of energy between you and this great aunt, right? That only makes a certain part of sense to you, that feeling. And then of course, hearing everybody say, "Oh my God, you got," so bam, that's a perfect sandwich.
Yeah, it pissed me off. But I also, like, I would just be mad, like, yo, like, stop telling me about her, because you guys are telling me how great she is, and I never got to experience her. And so I developed like this animosity towards life, and it was like this why me type of mentality, and it was just like.
But I mean, that's also fair. That's preteen. Like, you do feel those emotions very vividly.
But it was this thing where it's just like, no matter what a situation was, it came down to me missing her. Right. And it's like, well, like, and I think about it now, like, how can I miss her if I never experienced her like that? Like, I never got to see or feel, like, all those senses that we were just talking about. Like, I never got to really experience to be able to memorize that shit. But long story short, I guess, because it could go long. That was a long ass lunch we had.
Beans all day.
But it ended up just his response to everything, like everybody telling me I can't do shit, me not being able to experience certain things with people that I wish I could have, like just having that attitude about life. He was like, all right, he goes, you're here today. Yes. Get over it. And that was it. Out of everything he told me, his answer was get over it. So
this is how I imagine it in my head. You're sitting there, doctor's in front of you. You talk. You share your story, all of your feelings, all of your emotions. And at the end of it, he says, okay, you're here today. I hear you. You got to get over it.
Pretty much. Ironically.
That was it.
That was it. And it was like, that made me more mad. Like,
yeah, because I would be mad.
Like, yo, bro, are you
This is what my copay went to?
Yeah, are you fucking with me? But then it just, I don't know. I learned, like, so at that, right, going back to the whole, like, I don't know if conditioning is the right word, but kind of what Nade Brand is talking about, like just trauma responses. Like, now I have I wouldn't say I wouldn't have no regard, but like when people feel a certain way, I'll let them feel that way for a time being, and then it's like, all right, cool, let's go now. Like,
well, because you learned that. And so, okay, so just to kind of circle back. So initially when you experienced that with him, you were mad, you were angry, you're like, what kind of answer was that, right? And then when did you transition to, hey, that was actually really good advice?
When I was an adult. I had to be like in my 30s for sure. And
2 years ago?
Well, no. I'm 37 now. So
37 going on 68.
Oh my God. So just for reference, I guess. But yeah, like early 30s, that's when I kind of like started looking back, because it wasn't until recent where I started like realizing certain shit and looking at things differently. But it also, going back to what like you and Natalie said, it also depends on your circle and who you have around you. Right? Like for sure, the three of us, even when the camera's off and we're not streaming anything anymore, like we have really deep fucking conversations. Yeah. But then we also have dumb conversations, and people like, you guys,
those are just as important.
You guys have a podcast? Why the fuck would you have a podcast?
Those are just as important. Those dumbass conversations.
Samantha said I'm about to be 90.
Oh, you're right, Samantha. I got that totally wrong. You're 30-something going on 90.
Yeah, Josh is 67.
Shouts out to Amy, who recognized the little song I was humming in the background when you said your circle of friends or your circle of people around here. Circle of life. The Lion King. How old were you when The Lion King came out? Oh, you didn't watch animation. Never mind. This doesn't apply to you.
Damn, that's like you gonna fucking do me. Wow.
I would legit make you watch like all.
I seen The Lion King though.
Did you cry?
No.
Kind of human are you?
I mean, I cry. When do I cry?
What's the last movie that you saw that you cried?
That's a good one.
Samantha, does he cry? Is it something come out of the eyes?
The Pursuit of Happiness, for sure.
Oh,
No,
Will
I
Smith?
cried. Yeah.
That was a while ago, right?
Yeah. Is that your point? Like, that was a long ass time ago. I don't know. What the fuck was I saying? I don't know. But yeah, I think The Pursuit of Happiness.
I don't remember it. I mean, I know the storyline, and I know that.
You know what? I think what it is, though, too, with that movie was because there was
you cry when you're mad?
When I'm pissed.
Interesting.
I haven't been really pissed in a while. When I'm
that's
hungry,
good. That's a great sign.
When I'm hungry, I start crying. I throw fucking tantrums.
You're hangry.
What would it be then? If not hangry, something else.
That's interesting. You cry when you're really pissed. And all of it comes down to just like pent up emotions. Like you're just blocked. You're just emotionally constipated. You got to let it out, Ray. Just cry it out.
But you know what's crazy is I have realized like the differences, right? Like back when me and Samantha first started dating, I was like super fucking uptight. Like if we say a time,
like the dance,
boom. Like if you say be ready by 4, I'm gonna be at your fucking house at 3:50, and you better be ready.
Oh, you're that guy.
I was that guy. Now I'm like, she said, I don't know what. She said, I don't know what to do when he cries. It's awkward. Now she's just being funny because I don't fucking cry.
Okay.
I would like to really know.
First of all, I hope you never cry in front of me because I'm that awkward recipient of like when I see somebody and they're crying and they're
don't
like,
touch me.
No, there's a part of me that almost wants to laugh. Like I get uncomfortable and I would not be able to handle you crying. Please don't ever cry in front of me. Like don't hold it in. Take it tight. Don't cry in front of me.
Man.
I would
like
my mom tells me all the time, like you just do not know how to console people. I'm not a consoler. Meaning I don't want you to feel that pain, but
ironically though,
isn't this funny?
Ironically, that's a lot to say for someone who cries a lot. Like you cry a lot. The first time you cried,
I cried today.
The first time you fucking cried, I remember we went somewhere and we were on our way back to do like a Feed Me Friday or something.
Okay.
And I don't know what the fuck we were talking about. And
I driving?
I was driving. And I just looked over and I was like, oh, she's fucking crying.
Yeah.
What did I say? I didn't say anything to make her fucking cry. And then after a while, I started realizing like, oh, she's a fucking crier. She cries about everything. Like you cry when you're happy. You cry when you're sad. It's an energy that.
And those cries super easy, super easy cries. Sad movie cry, sad moment cry. Like joy cry, easy. That is easy topical crying, but. Real cry,
yeah,
like a deep. Oh, the hard cries is when you're suppressing the cry. Because it's actually going to make you feel like deeply rooted, cemented emotion.
Like all vulnerability out the window.
Oh man, those are tough. Those are cries in the car with
When's the last time you guys in the chat cried? Because I like them now.
Not 8 Brand says that he cries every day. Easy. So okay, but to my point, right? But see, that topical crying, that first layer of emotion is real easy to cry out, but that deep cry, that ugly cry.
I want to know if like that's
Amy cries all the time.
If that's like a fucking like an exercise.
It should be an exercise,
right? Because
that's why I always said that crying is the soul's orgasm. Crying is literally your suffering soul's orgasm. Your tears come out. See, they come out and the soul feels better upon release.
Oh, you know what? And maybe Samantha shall remember this. There was recently, actually, this was when Josh was going from, it was earlier this year, actually. he was going from 6th grade. Like his school goes up to 6th grade. Now he's like in middle school.
Okay.
So she just reminded me, and because she knows this shit gets me every fucking time I turn into a bitch.
Don't say that. Don't label it. Don't label it.
I don't mean a bitch like in a female aspect. I just mean in general. Like,
right. Don't be a weak ass bitch. No.
So, but
it's strong.
It's because when Josh was little, Samantha used to work nights at, I forgot what retail store at the time she was working at. So he was actually going to graduate preschool.
Okay.
And I was the one who took him to go get his preschool outfit for his graduation.
All right.
So he is in the dressing room. I'm helping him get ready. He had a little suit, like a little blazer, like a little velvet blazer.
Okay.
Like a, I won't say like a plaid shirt kind of. Puts his tie, his pants, and his little loafers on. And he's looking at himself, and he turns around and he goes, "Daddy, am I handsome?" Oh man, that shit fucking broke me. And I like, but it was a mixture of like his face and man,
the tenderness. I felt the tenderness.
That shit,
in that.
like when he said, like, and even now, so like, I actually took him to go get himself ready for his 6th grade graduation.
Okay.
So that's what ended up bringing it up. And we were talking. She was like, "Hey, remember when?" And this was like in the middle of fucking Target, dude. She was like, "Oh, remember our little papa when he?" And she brought it up, and I was like, "Shut the fuck up!" I'm walking in the aisle at Target.
You're holding it.
I couldn't hold it in. Like it fucking dripped down. I was
Let it go, Ray. Why are you?
Like, you son of a bitch! You fucking got me. That's the only. Like with my kids, my son, I don't know. Like my daughter too, but just something about that boy, man. That kid, it's crazy. Parenthood
is a shitty place sometimes.
Is it?
Yeah, it's hard.
See, I have to take you for your word because you have way more years of experience than I do.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, wait. Hold on. Pause a minute. Thank you, Nani Brand, for asking the question.
He said that's weird. You can't allow yourself to cry.
Wait, hold on. We were talking about reading text messages in a certain tone, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to read his statement the way you imagine he's telling you.
So, see, that's weird. You can't even allow yourself to cry.
Okay. The way I hear it in my head is, see, that's weird. You can't even allow yourself to cry? Why? That's how I read it.
Why? I, you know what? To be honest, it's not that I don't allow myself to cry. Because, again, it got me. Like, and that's just, you
held it in, Ray.
I didn't hold it in. It got me.
You said
No, it came out. That's my cry. You're not, like, I'm not the type of, I'm not going to fucking sob. And it's not like.
Okay, well, let me ask you this.
It's not like.
So you've never felt llanto?
It's not like Rocky when Mickey died. Dude. I'm not, I'm not going to be like.
Okay, when's the last time you cried like that?
When my uncle died.
Oh, yeah. That's a good cry.
When my uncle died. But that also, too, like, when he died, I lost a lot of people. Not like in the form of like they passed. Like when he died, I didn't give a fuck about nobody.
Right.
Like I didn't care if you were trying to help me.
How old were you when that happened?
Oh, this was shit. Josh is 12. Might have been like 10 years ago.
Okay, so 10 years ago you were like, "Screw this! I'm pissed. Why would people die?"
And just him. Of all people, was him. And ironically, I think Samantha and I actually were talking about it in our podcast, where it was just like, out of everybody in my family, that was the one. Like that one
hurt.
Yeah, like bad. I remember my mom. One day, I was leaving my mom's house and we were talking about, because she goes, "Hey, do you have any more gigs?" And I was like, or what's the next gig you have? And at this time, it was Dodger season, so we were doing
full effect
Dodger shows and shit. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be at the stadium this day and that day." And she's like, "Oh, that's good." And I just looked at her and I just told her, I said, "Mom," I said, "as much fun as I have doing it, there's only two people that I wish really knew what this meant to me. and I know what it means to them. And one's not here, and the other one won't remember. And she was, and then I think that's when she was like, and I remember like in the car, like I didn't, like thinking about it, it got me, right? But right. I don't know, because I don't feel like I'm holding myself back from crying. I really don't. It's not like I'm saying, hey, cry. Like in public, I'm gonna be like, hey, well, don't cry in fucking public.
But I do think it's sometimes a natural reaction to hold back a cry, because like for me, I was always afraid of fully crying, like the deep crying, because I didn't want to feel those terrible feelings. So that's why I would suppress it. And I was like, what? I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna feel this terrible thing. And that was a problem. This is why I can't lose weight, right? Because
when you cry, you eat.
Yeah, that part. And I'm like all this sad ass energy is just trapped in my body. Like it's just like.
See, and so Amy's saying that I'm just super even kill. Like I have the it is what it is attitude. But the thing is, I don't know. I can't say that I've always been that way. I think just through life's experiences and the shit that I've gone through, I think it's made me that way. And we talked about this earlier today when we had lunch. I lost people at a very young age, to the point where
an abnormal amount of people.
And yeah, and at that point, going back to what I told you earlier, is like I lost a friend my sophomore year in high school, and after that, like I didn't even go to his funeral, and his funeral was down the street from my mom's house, and my reaction to that was just like, it was like, is that like, is this ever going to change? Is this going to stop? Like, this, like, it's another, like, it was always hitting too close to home. Like, seeing what my mom went through with my little sister, seeing what my mom went through with my little brother. But
this is why I think we need to talk about death all the time.
And
we need to understand, like, that is inevitable. Like, that is going to happen. There's no, sometimes I think, like, fuck, what if one of my kids died before I die? I would die if that would ever to happen. And then the other voice in my head's like, why would you be mad? Like, death is gonna happen. Like, what are you trying to live forever?
It is, but you still, like, no parent wants to bury their child.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but we talk about it after the fact. We talk about it after somebody dies. Like, talking about death, like my family tells me all the time, why do you talk about death so much?
Because
then makes me think,
like you say though, it's inevitable.
It's inevitable. Like, it's gonna happen. I can't be mad if one of my kids dies before me. I can't be mad. That's just how it had to happen.
But I think what it is, like there's a kink. Like you see it as a kink in the cycle of life.
What do you mean?
Because there's an order. Like as we live, there's an order, right? Like you live longer, so you will die first. Your children should be able to live as long as you have, at least.
So you're saying a child's death is a kink in the order?
Well, just like for us, like the way we see it, like no parent wants to bury their child. I've seen that twice and very close. Like I've seen my parents bury my little brother, and when my uncle passed away, I seen my grandma bury her son.
That's rough.
And the things that I've seen after that, and the things that I've seen as a result of it, like that's not. I think as like human nature wise, that's just fucking. It's not something that it's a big disruption, because again, I'm supposed to live my life and I'll die knowing that my kids got to see me live my life. Not I'm living my life, bury my kids, and they never got to see me do what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like we're not supposed to bury our kids. It's like, it's just obviously.
But death, like birth, is the most natural part of the process, and the part of the process is whenever the process needs to be.
But there's okay. So then take it to maybe just a connection thing, because we all know death is inevitable, right? Like again, my mom lost my little brother when she I want to say 6 months pregnant. So
your mom was 6 months pregnant when she lost her son.
Mm-hmm.
But how old was your mom at the time?
35, maybe.
35.
34, 35.
Okay.
But it was just like, again, I've seen what that does, right? Because it's like, you're not supposed to bury your children. You're supposed to grow old. Like that's the idea. right? That's the fairy tale.
Well, that's all the point right there. That's the idea. That's the fairy tale. That's the wish. That's the hope, right?
Because
you don't want to feel that kind of pain.
Because that same mindset that you have right now, would you say that's the same mindset when you see it in the news or you see it on Instagram or
what do you
anything?
mean? What do you mean? Give me an example.
When you see a parent going through what they got to go through because their child died, is that this like it's gonna happen? It's life. It's inevitable. They're gonna die.
No. Well, yes and no. Like, yes and no. So I was just telling my youngest yesterday. We were talking about all my memories, like growing up. The time that I spent in Mexico, my brother and I would go to San Ignacio, Praxedis, Guerrero, in Chihuahua.
Mm-hmm. For anyone that didn't understand what she said,
but we
Mexico. That I know for sure. That's all Vinny heard. We got to record it and send it to him with the translation.
San Ignacio, Praxedis, Guerrero, Chihuahua, Mexico. Bam. Hey, I got a biddy. Our first biddy.
He's like, I didn't understand what you said.
This is historical. We got a biddy right here. Hey. Our first biddy in the history of biddiness.
I could only imagine that once you said that place, everybody was in their house going, Epa!
But we were...
She for sure wasn't saying anything crazy.
No, it was just the city, the state, country. But I was out there. My grandmother was one of the only people in the little town that had like a pool, a built pool, whatever, right? And I remember it was my aunt and I's birthday. My tia Licha was born on June 21st, and then I was born on June 22nd. So all of our cousins, everybody was together. Like, it was all a good time. Everyone's in the pool. There's food. There's music. It's great. There's a phone call that comes in. And I run out of the pool. So my Uncle Sergio was expecting his first son. And they called to tell me that he was born on my birthday. And they named him Eric. So, and Eric is Eric and Rickie, both of the names are like from each other. Whatever.
You just put an E in front of one.
I was so excited. I was like, "Oh my God, he was born on my..." Because they had told him that was the due date. I was so excited that he was born on my birthday. It was like the greatest thing in the world. He didn't make it. He passed away maybe like a few weeks later. There was something that didn't fully develop, and I wasn't there when they had to. I mean, but I was also a kid. I was like less than 10. But I remembered like thinking in my head, my own pain and my own concern and my own confusion and my own misunderstanding, but also thinking like, damn, I was a kid. I was a child, but I was still thinking about what it would have felt like for them.
As a parent. And
at that time, and I have this is another core memory that I have. I remember I used to babysit for their daughters. And at the time that Eric passed away, Eric Clapton came out with that song, Tears in Heaven. Because Eric Clapton lost a son. Did you know that he had a son that died?
Yeah. I think I've heard the song.
He felt the song. So he wrote that song for his son who fell out of a hotel window and died.
Isn't it crazy? Like...
Damn.
We look at certain people and we think they're not human. Like when it comes to things, like, because you remember when you ever heard about the story of Mike Tyson's kid dying in the pool?
Oh, wait, I thought not in the pool. For some reason, I heard a story about the kid was on a treadmill and choked on the blinds.
I don't think that was him. I think his was the pool.
Damn.
Anyways, but he didn't want to know the details. Only because he knew where it was. Oh, it was a treadmill. Okay.
Yes.
All I know is he knew the monster was about to be unleashed.
What do you mean?
Like, he knew, he told them, like, for your sake, I don't need to know.
Oh.
Why you weren't watching my kid or who was supposed to watch my kid. He didn't want to know any of those details because that was going to be able to place responsibility on someone that he was going to make them pay. Mm-hmm. So he was like, don't tell me. Like, it's crazy, man. It's again, you don't want to bury your child, dude. You don't. Like, it's Mike Tyson of all people. You know what I mean? Like, that dude, the way people portrayed him, like he was a fucking monster. But we all have, like, when it comes to your kids, you're not a fucking monster, dude. Like, you have like Amy said earlier, like it's just the logical order in which we would assume life should be lived.
Right. That how you would hope, how you would want things to play out. And I think the voice in the back of my head that's always saying that this is natural, like that doesn't take away from the actual complete and utter suffering that I'm going to like.
I think that's your thought process for yourself.
Oh, for sure, like preparation.
Yeah,
like I think about that too. Like my mom's gonna die. My mom's gonna die like soon, not soon, but I'm gonna have to deal with that.
Zoom.
All I want to do is zoom.
Totally different
boom,
fucking song,
just
dude.
shake your up.
Totally different fucking song.
Yeah, and how you gonna go from talking about your mom dying to all I want to do is zoom,
You're still doing the wrong song.
I'm sorry. How is it the wrong song?
You got
What
the
song
wrong
were you
song.
talking about?
There's two songs.
With the Zoomies?
Yeah, there's two songs with the Zoomies. We'll let them fit. Look at it. Well, that's Rex and Effects.
Oh yeah, Rex and Effects. I remember that. I was in 7th grade when that song came out.
Oh my god.
7th grade.
Fucking old.
I was a child. You
were holding Jesus' books.
7th grade, I was going to Vinadanks Middle School protesting for, remember Prop 187 that came out?
You were political when you were a kid?
I became political when I was in 5th grade.
You sent me a video.
Hold on.
No, fool. That was not J-Lo and LL Cool J. They sampled it, yes.
No, to Amy's point. Walkouts when Prop 187 came out, yeah, everybody was walking out, and then mind you, my junior high was right next to a high school.
Yeah, remember I was.
Oh man, so
I was
everybody
in fucking elementary at that time.
And there it is. There it is.
That's why.
But
That's the song Samantha was thinking about.
Sorry. But I did.
I'm never too young, Amy. Apparently, to my wife and grandma over here, I'm fucking 90 years old.
Call me abuela. Sorry.
It is what it is. Someone asked me, they're like, "Hey, who's Ricky?" I was like, it's hard to explain, but I tell my kids to call her grandma.
That is a great question. Who is Ricky?
Because you know why people will be like, a lot of people see us everywhere. So they're like, well, who is she? And it's like, I can't, like, you're my manager. But then there's like the business partner. But then there's like the friend,
the
sister,
therapist. Like. The uncle.
She's fucking Rickie Lee. That, you know what? Not a brand. We do need to do an episode of who is Rickie Lee.
Oh, Ray, maybe we could do that. Could be the thing
that
we've been talking about.
Who is Rickie Lee?
Yeah, because Ray and I were just talking about how, like, I am a person that does for others and has completely lost sight of what I would want to do for myself. I enjoy all of these things. Like, I love all of these things. They're passions of mine. But is it really it for me?
Well, yeah, everybody. She's a fucking shadow. She's everywhere.
Moon shadow, moon shadow.
I don't know.
Who knows that song?
I think everything you do is you. But the more to you is what you need to tap into and figure out.
I think
you figured it out. You just haven't been impulsive about going about that part of you.
Why?
Trauma?
Fear-based.
Fear-based. Yeah, fear-based.
I'm afraid of my own potential.
I think so, for real.
Ability.
Everybody's I think feels that way. I think everybody's it's a nerve. And it's just like, oh shit. The anxiety fucking kicks in. You're like, I could actually fucking fail. But the winning part,
we should shoot to fail.
The winning part is fucking orgasmic. It's like there's no other feeling better than that when it comes to like succeeding in something that you've been wanting to fucking succeed in, because you've been afraid of it for so fucking long. Then it's just like, oh shit, now I get to actually succeed in this thing that I was fearing of doing. You're like, that's not that bad. It's okay. I fucking
Actually,
did it.
What you just said just made me realize that I definitely have not achieved whatever I'm supposed to achieve to like take that moment and be like, this was it. this is it. This is everything that I've been working towards. I've had a lot of moments that have felt that way, that have been that powerful. I've had a lot of moments of like, oh shit, like this is where I'm at. Like, oh wow, look where you're at. Look who you just met. Look what you just did. I have a lot of moments like that, like a lot of them. But the moment where you're like, whew, okay, cool, this was it.
Which is crazy because we've done a lot of great fucking things.
Yes. Okay, so I lie. The one thing that does resonate with me, because, you know, you go back, like, you want your parents to be like, oh, I'm so proud of you. No, my grandparents watch what I do. My grandparents see, and it makes me feel so beautiful when they acknowledge that, and they're like, oh, mija, like that. Not even my parents. It's my grandparents. I love that part.
It's a simple thing sometimes. I think we get so confused in thinking that what we are trying, or like trying to find what we are or who we really are, has to be something fucking extravagant. And it could just be as simple as being who you are right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think I've had this conversation with Samantha before. Like, hey, like, it's okay to be a mom. Society tells you that you need to have a job, or you need to have, like, because we have to, like, financially be able to provide to live in California.
You need like 3-4 incomes. Each partner needs like 2 additional incomes. But
it's just like, because you start thinking to yourself, like, what am I here for? Like, am I doing enough? Like what's wrong with just being a mom? Maybe
or that's what's wrong with just being. Period.
Maybe that's your calling. What you're doing right now is your calling, and so, it's just as simple as accepting it.
My answer now, when people are like, hey, like, who are you? And I just say, I am. That's it. I am.
Vinny Cole says, I can't put myself out there enough to figure out who I can be.
That's gold right there.
That is, but
that's gold, because he's like, you pull back, you reserve, you're like,
but you gotta put yourself out there for you, not for everybody else, in order to understand that, right? Because that's a self thing.
So, and I don't even know if this is where 98 Brand was going, right? But what he says is, you know what's wrong with it, you want more. So you and I were talking earlier, Ray, about like, well, what do you do when you have everything, like the essentials in your life? All of the essential things that you need in your life, they're taken care of. You got it. It's good. Now what? What's next?
Because you got a little extra time on your hand, and you feel, and maybe it's because like you've done so much to that point, that having extra time or having just a little bit, it doesn't sit right. Right? Like the other day you told me about like having like this feeling.
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
It didn't feel right, but it's not a negative feeling. It's not anything bad. It's just, it was something different, and you're just like, hey, like, and I even told you, just like, maybe it's just like your body or your mind both are adjusting to each other's like new, like what's happening that's new for you, right? Like, your mind used to always tell you negative shit. Now you're not accepting that negative shit. Right
now I'm fully aware. Like, now when all these negative things are, all this negative noise in my head, I'm like, oh, hold on.
Like, I don't have any of those.
And I separate myself from those things. Like, I actively do that. But I think what triggered all of that, and I think I kind of mentioned it to you through text, sometimes I get lazy because I'm like, wait, this is kind of a deep thing, and do I really want to try to express this through text? But I did some somatic exercises that I was sharing with you. Like, they're supposed to like help you release trauma, and it's all these kinds of movements and stuff like that. And the very last pose was this, like, it was called the happy baby pose. You're on your back, legs are up, and your hands are holding onto your feet. For some strange, bizarre reason, when she said, this is the happy baby pose, imagine a happy baby. And
it made you happy.
I imagined myself. It made me think, I wonder what I was like as a happy baby. What did my energy feel like as a happy baby? And then I thought, I can think about the moments when I saw all 3 of my kids in a happy baby moment, in that just very pure and innocent energy. So I was able to really like, and I tapped, I think that I tapped into little baby Rickie's energy, and it was so bright, and it was so bold, and it was so big, and it was so hopeful, and it was all these things And I'm like, oh my God. And I just started crying because I was like,
because now you're back in reality.
Man. No, because I thought about everything that it took to dim that light. I thought of everything.
So you're replaying everything.
Yeah. All the firefighters that it took to just take that little flame out. But how to this day, there's still a flame. It's still there. And it's like, damn, like I'm still here. Like,
and I think that's always going to be that there. Again, like what Nade Brand had mentioned, like you're looking for what's next. And sometimes you don't need to look for what's next. It's right there.
Agreed. It's typically right in front of us.
And it's been there, because I think at the end of it was just like, hey, like, I think my response to you was just like, I think you're finally figuring out your balance.
That never existed for a multitude of reasons, right? And I want to, Vinny, I am so glad you said this because he's asking, was Ray a happy baby with our... So you see how I'm reading it in my head, right? Was Ray a happy baby without cartoons? Right? Because like, why didn't you get cartoons? That was such... Sometimes I feel like... No, like, sometimes... Okay, well, let me just ask. I'm not going to assume. What was the most memorable part of your childhood? What did you just absolutely love about your childhood? And let's define childhood as 2 to 10, 11 years old. Preteen. 2 to preteen.
What do I remember?
Yeah, like, describe like a beautiful time in your childhood.
Honestly, I don't know. And that's not like I don't, because hold the fuck up. Are you taking me through therapy right now? Hold on. I'm thinking about it right now.
I'm trying to figure out if your mom gave birth to a natural, serious baby.
No, I think she
when you were born, you were already 36 years old.
From my understanding, I was actually a happy baby, but I was a quiet baby. Like, I was happy. I didn't cry. I didn't fuss. I didn't...
You were easy baby. That's why I called you Michael Moda earlier.
Yeah.
Like, just, hey, you were there. You were quiet, observant. Hold on. His wife, our dear Samantha, says, for him, favorite thing as a child, reading the obituary. Oh, exactly. To my point, he came out with a cigarette in his mouth, out of his mother's womb.
No, honestly, and I think surroundings. I'm a big believer in just being like, not being a victim of your circumstances, but just having to survive through your circumstances or your surroundings, right? Because for me, again, I don't like the one core memory that I do remember was actually that same aunt that I was telling you about. I remember we moved into her house after she passed away, and I was riding my bike around her house, which was our house at the time. And I don't even know if this really happened, but I remember this in my fucking head. Mm-hmm. But I'm riding the bike, and in the back of her house, she had the little shelter on the bottom of the house. Okay. So you open the door, you go underneath your house.
Tornado time.
Which I don't know why they would have that in LA.
That is weird.
Probably like a riot shelter. But so she had like that shelter, and I remember, again, I don't know if it really happened, but I could remember this. Like it could maybe have been a dream that I remember. But I remember riding the bike around the house and that door being open. Okay. And I'm riding and I take the turn. I take the turn too soon, and I'm not going around the house. I end up going into the little shelter at the bottom of the house.
Plot twist.
But I remember seeing her.
Oh, she was down there?
Yeah, and she was beautiful. Oh. Like, and it wasn't like, I didn't see her. She wasn't dark. She was like as vibrant as they described her in the pictures that I've seen of her.
Exchange of energy.
And she just like stood there and waited for me to get up, but it wasn't an aggressive like get up. It was just like, you're gonna be okay. Like, and that's all I remember. But honestly, like of happy to like say something happy, you got to remember, dude. I was 9 years old when I lost my brother. Okay. I was 10 years old going to NICU for a long time when my sister was born. Like, to me...
You saw a lot of rough things at a very young age.
Yeah.
But prior to that, because how old were you when the first traumatic thing happened to you?
I don't remember. Honestly, because even in kindergarten, one of the other things that used to like get in my head was in my actual kindergarten teacher, she died halfway through the school year.
See, you should totally be comfortable with death. Like,
I am.
See how? Yeah, actually, you are. Of all the people, yes, you are.
I never said I was. I wasn't. I just. But these are like, so that's why I'm saying, like, for someone to say, hey, like, remember a happy thing. Like, I'm not saying it's hard because I've never had happy moments. I just don't know. I remember being okay with shit.
So your happiest memory as a child was what?
I don't know.
Huh. Do you think it's because you haven't really thought about it or you don't want to look back into your childhood?
No, because what I do know about my childhood was being told what I couldn't do.
Right.
Like, that was louder than anything else.
Oh, gosh. You know what? That just makes me think that my dad's a psychopath. Because my dad told me a lot of times, like, he would say, oh, you can't do this, or you're not going to be able to do this, you're not going to be able to do that, right? But along with discouraging me to do things, he was also exposing me to all the things, to all the inspiration, all the resources, to the reason why I'm saying I want to be these things. So I'm like, I feel all this.
It's like reverse psychology.
Oh my God, it didn't work on me, but I understand what he was trying to do.
It did, but it didn't, because that triggered your impulsiveness that allows you to be like, fuck it, I'm gonna go talk. Like, again, like Hex talks about.
I wanted to be a poet.
Hex talks about this all the time. When it was me, you, Hex, Myra. We were all in the same car going into the stadium, and we left early as shit. And somehow we end up being stuck in traffic, and we were early, like early.
Is that when we picked up Nestor?
I think so. And this
so we had gotten something. I think that was Nestor's first time.
And I remember because it was around your birthday. Mm-hmm. I think it was All-Star Weekend. No.
Did you give me the shoes?
Yeah, I ended up buying some Air Force Ones, and for some reason you decided to wear them that day, and you were trying to run and not crease your shoes at the same time.
Oh yeah, because I had to stop traffic.
But that impulsiveness was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna get off the car. You got off the car, ran all the way from where we were at to run to the security
to the stoplight
to tell him, hey, I have the talent for today's event.
He has to get through,
and all these dudes need to get through, and all these people are like,
yeah.
So your impulsiveness allowed security to be like, oh, okay, cool, and created a whole fucking lane just for us to get out of.
A path. And so it's funny because you call that impulsiveness and I call that like problem, solution, resourcefulness. What do I got to do to get this happen? Because there's no way we're not going to get here because we could lose everything. So we got to fucking go. What?
She said you were early with Hex. No, yeah, because we were early.
We were early. We were on time. We were prepared. We had to deal with the distractions thereafter.
But it's, I don't know. Again, I'm not going to say I didn't have happy times. I just don't, I can't single out shit because I don't know. I don't want to sound like that dude that's like, hey, like when I was your age, I walked 10 miles just to get to school in snow and had no shoes on. And like, cause I don't like, I don't know. I just don't. You're a master improviser.
So I was actually going to mention my little one, Mia Lee Arellano, because Mia, there are a lot of similarities that I see between you and Mia.
That's my homie.
And this is why I said, like, you came out with the cigarette in your mouth, right? Mia's picture, her little icon picture when she calls me, it's like, I don't know, I think she must have been like 3 years old. You know, you take them to Olin Mills and they take their little pictures. This child would not smile. She just had a very stoic face, these beautiful big cheeks and a very stoic face, and just looking straight at the camera like, hurry up and take this fucking picture because I'm hungry. Like, that was the look on her face. Like, really? You're going to wave a teddy bear around me? That's what you got? A teddy bear? I'm going to show you guys the picture. You know, and that is legit her face on her little toddler picture.
You say that. It's funny because the day we did the Vans event and she came, she looked at me the same way as soon as you started saying shit. And I had to look at you like, yo, leave her the fuck alone, bro.
She's insane, okay? She's a killer. She's a killer. I remember taking her to go get, you know how you have to get your little shots, your little, what do you call them? When you're a kid, a baby?
Chicken pox?
All the shots, little flu shots, all the little, what are they called? Why can't I think about what they're called? You're
immune,
whatever. The shots you get. This is when I knew I have a different child. They would put her little hand, arm, right? And Mia would look the nurse dead in the eye. There was no distraction. There was no nothing. She would look her dead in the eye. And the nurse was like, oh, it's okay. No. I'm just going to be really quick. And Mia's just like hard stare. Toddler hard stare.
I don't know who the fuck you're talking to. Just do it already.
And the whole time this lady is shooting her up, not a flinch, not a tear, and nothing.
Hell yeah. Fuck yeah. Dougie.
I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. What did I create? What's happening here? And so she's razor sharp, dude. Like legit from a kid, from a baby, like, and she had a rough premiere. She had a rough premiere. I remember talking to her when I was pregnant and telling her, like, look, when you come out, I got to go back to work. We're going to be on a tough schedule, but this is what we got to do. Like, as I'm eating like 3 waffles and a bowl of cereal and some fresh eggs and ham, I was always having that conversation, like trying to prep her. Like, when you come out, things are not going to be easy, kiddo. It's going to be hard, but we're going to do it together. That's the conversation I was, poor thing. So I ruined her.
You were transmitting that energy.
I ruined my kid
before you gave birth.
I wasn't in this like joyful space. Like,
you got to reframe that, homie, because I wouldn't say it's a ruin. And maybe because, again, you compare you compare her and I a lot, right? And even to the point of, like,
you are the 2 people I'm afraid of. Even
to the point of where it's like, she will tell you, I don't think Ray's gonna like that decision. And you will be like, all right, let's back up off of this.
Right.
We're not going to do that. Right.
Yeah.
But I don't think that you ruined her. I think that you built something that you took from each one of your children. And remember I told you this about Joshua, where it's just like, hey, dude, you're going to see me be a whole better father to your sister than I ever was and ever will be to you. Because you're my first, and everything you do, it's a first time for everything.
Right.
And I'm going to fuck up just as much as you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So forgive me now because you don't get the best version of me. And that doesn't mean that I love you less than I love her. That just means that we both have to figure out this fuck up.
And you know what? You're right. Like, I should have never said ruin, because but I do want to honor the fact that for all 3 of my children, they deserved a much better, worthy experience than what they had. But I also understand with adversity builds character, you know, and what they went through is what we all had to go through. And it's their worst things, their worst experiences that I had to offer them. They found a way to, what do you call it when you're building a little ceramic thing and you're
scope?
The
scope?
Scoping. Yeah. I can't stop thinking about that stupid movie with Patrick Swayze.
Ghost.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. But they've really been able to sculpt their adversity into the best parts of who they are like now. And so I tell myself that's a positive thing. But
so have you, right? Like, and you could look at your life and question a lot of things, but who we are and what people love about us is all like it's all equated from what we came up as, right? Like,
yes,
I tell my son this now, like, look, bro, I don't beat your ass because I had my ass beat, like, legitimately, like my consequences. And again, I'll say this, and I said this in the past podcast I had with you guys the very first time, where, like, I don't condone violence, right? I do believe that there has to be a form of discipline, and if the only way for you to understand what I'm trying to get to you is for me to fucking shock you with an ass whooping,
right,
then it's gonna happen.
I kind of do low key sometimes think that's effective.
You're also
snapping someone out of something.
You're also talking about. You're talking to someone who, like, I had the cops at my house when I was younger. You know what I mean? Like, I did a lot of shit that I think would have driven everybody's fucking parents nuts. And I was probably like the first, obviously, like I was the first one of the children. My brother was, I wouldn't say he was a saint, but he was the one that got the good grades. He did good in school.
Your older brother.
My older brother. And I was the one that just, I bucked up against everything. Like I did my own shit. Like even my cousin recently, when we did that thing for me, Vida, at the brewery, he actually pulled up and his girlfriend was with him, or his wife. And she was like, how come I never met this dude? And he told her, he goes, this is the
Who's
dude.
this dude?
She goes, this is the dude that I told you. He's always just been on his own fucking beat. He's never done anything the way everyone's told him to do it. He just did it his way, and this is what he does. Like, this is where he DJs. This is what he photographs. This is who he's photographing. These are the things that he's done in spite of all of us telling him he wasn't going to fucking do it. Or he couldn't do it. Right? So
it wasn't going to happen.
It's one of those things where it's just like, dude, you just, you're built into who you were. Like, you have a choice. Right. Like, everyone could tell you you're not going to be shit. And you could be a victim, or you could just be like, all right, cool. We'll see about that. But you don't have to keep fucking trying to prove everybody wrong. Right. After a while, it's just for you.
Like, it's just, like, it's 1,000% for you.
Like, it's you didn't ruin nobody. No. And no one ruined you. I can say that because, again, coming from a person that got his ass beat. Like, my brother didn't get his ass beat the way I got my ass beat. My sister sure as hell didn't get, like, whooped. Like, my sister would say stuff, and I would look at her like, you really gonna say that to my dad? I would have got punched in the fucking mouth for that.
So 2 points, 2 things that I want to point out. So 98 Brand says that, and I want to make clear, I'm not saying that, like, you know, knocking someone out is a positive thing. What I am saying is that I have been in situations where I've seen somebody just completely spiraling and panicking and in this distraught place where another person was trying to, like, get it together. You need to get it together because it was like a life and death situation, and they really needed to get, and every attempt and every effort that this person was trying to make to get that other person to snap out of it wasn't happening until they slapped the other person.
So they're
and it was like this, you know, immediate response.
Their response, and then that
is trauma
induced.
There. They were like, oh, okay, cool, I'm here. So that's what I meant by, like, sometimes I could see how, like, the benefit that a physical interaction with somebody in a very extreme case like that is what I'm saying. But Vinny says, so this is kind of what's been playing in my head. Maybe it was was it last week's episode about free will?
2 episodes ago.
So 2 episodes ago, we had a discussion about, do we really have free will? And that's, at the end of the day, everything that we talked about this last hour and change, everything that our kids are doing, not doing, when they're dying, how we're raising them, their traumas, none of that matters. It's not in our, that's how it had to be. There's nothing, you could have done anything different.
Yeah, like we had,
it was just written.
Like
why am I worried about it?
Today, like, you can't change the past. Like, so what's the purpose in dwelling in it? Right, because
which goes back to what the doctor told you. Get over it.
Yeah, get over it.
Why are you dwelling on it? Like, you got to move on. You got to go on to the next thing. You got to live the next day. You got to be a different person the next day. That's it. That's all that it is. So that's been a big inner conflict with me, like, this, since we had that episode. Because now I'm thinking, cool, if this is my path, I just got to live it out. I just got to feel it. I have no control over this. Like, it's just going to be.
Like, Not 8 Brand is saying plenty of purpose in understanding what happened. And that's how we grow.
True.
Which is very true, because, again, like he's saying, it didn't have to happen, but it did. And that's just how it went. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's what had to happen. That doesn't, you know what I mean? That's like saying, oh, I hit you with the car. I had to hit you with the car. Like, man, it just happened that you fucking hit me with the car to get my attention or something. You know, like, it's just, it doesn't, because saying it had to happen is almost like excusing, like it was okay that it happened. It was okay that you used to get your ass beat. It was okay that people were fucking putting you down. Like it had to happen. That's who made, no, that's just what had happened.
That's just what had happened.
And you are who you are from it. That doesn't mean it had to happen.
Right. Yeah.
It's just a molding.
But then it goes back to what I think, like, we're gonna die. Just go live. Get in trouble. Fail. Try. Love. Be. Just do it. See, put your Nikes on. Fuck.
Even as a parent, like, I try to make sure I don't do everything like my dad. Because, again, not everything that he has done was a bad way of raising me. Right? So there's like still things that I would like to take from him and take from my mom, like,
for sure,
and put it in that realm of, hey, this is how you're going to be a parent to your child. That doesn't make all that shit okay, right?
That's very interesting, because that made me think, like, what would I want my kids to take from their grandparents? Like, what would I want them to learn from them? Or say, like, fuck, I got this from my grandparents.
The cool thing is they got to experience it. I look at people like you and Samantha, like even Samantha, like my son got to experience his great grandparents. My grandma's still alive, although she's in the condition that she's in. Like, they get to see her,
touch her, feel her. My
grandma really is all I had. Like, I never met. I remember when my mom and dad got married by church. I met my grandpa and my grandma on my dad's side. But the only reason why I remember that is because my mom recorded it on VHS.
So the big tapes or the little tapes?
No, the big tapes. That's how I do remember that part. And then, like, my grandpa, he was like, and not to throw like salt on him or nothing, but he was an alcoholic, and a lot of times he chose the liquor over his family. So
yeah,
when we would try to help him, it wasn't enough, and he left. And so I didn't really have that grandpa. And I've always told Samantha, like, hey, like, your grandpa is like my grandpa.
Right.
Like, so when he died, it hurt me a little bit more than it did when my actual grandpa passed away.
Right.
But my grandma, ooh.
So
that's the one.
So I would say, like how you said, like, he chose the liquor over his family. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say it like that. I would say that he chose his trauma, his beef,
he chose his trauma response, and I'm
not knowing how to deal with it. That's he chose. Like, I don't know what to do with this.
I think we do know how to deal with it. I think we have the choice to actually deal with it, because remember, when we deal with certain things, it takes us to a dark place that none of us are comfortable in, right? Like, if I told you some of the stories that I remember my mom telling me about my grandpa, you'd be like, well, fuck, I'd be an alcoholic too.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For 1,000%.
You know what I mean? Like, I remember, I'll just one for reference. I remember he was raised by his stepmom and his dad, but I guess his dad was always working. So the stepmom didn't love him as if it was her own.
Of course.
So if she couldn't control him, she tied him to a tree in the back of the house.
I've heard so many stories like that. Like, it's bad. That's not... Mm-mm.
So, like, you know, like, so those are things that you're like, man, I don't know, I would probably be a fucking alcoholic too, but it's just like, damn, you had the choice to not go that route, bro.
So look, so Nani Brand says, can we say everyone is equipped to handle every issue, especially if it's a genetic problem? Maybe without any support, a lot could be happening with people in addiction. 1,000%. Like we talked about with Natalie last week about homeless people and like buying them food and them being picky about something, and it's like, you don't know what these people have been through. Like, it's shit.
I think too, with the time, we also have to take into consideration the resources, right? Yeah. Because you're looking at a time where, if especially men, if they expressed any type of vulnerability, there's something wrong with you. You're supposed to just be a man up and deal with it and move on. And how did most of them do it? They went to the bar after work and they drank. This
is why aliens will never land here. Because it's 2023 and men are still I think it's a lot better now. I think men now are a lot more vocal about that, and we'll talk about therapy and I think it's a lot better now, right? but it's still not to the point where we actually have the capacity to be. We don't. It's not.
Do you think it ever will?
It could be.
No.
It could be.
Not. I didn't ask if it could be. Anything could be.
It can't. It won't. Not at the rate that the stupidity out of the male species exists.
Well, there's also this like confusion, right? On both ends, male and female. Like now, this is a whole nother fucking topic, but you're talking about people wanting traditional values from a certain type of sex. But in this reality, the world we live in, I mean, some of the examples that I could use to we're not in a traditional lifestyle, or the things that we would have considered traditional from back in our grandparents or our great grandparents' days. Like some of the videos that you sent us about the music and the women and how they're talking about, like how they're generalizing, like, and glorifying, like the sex part of shit. It doesn't, like, them doing that is telling all these younger girls that it's okay to be that way. But if a dude tries to say something, like, now these girls that are acting that way are looking at dudes like they're still bitches.
I showed my girls that video. So I sent Ray and Natalie a video and who was the gentleman who was speaking? Did you know who he was?
I didn't
know who he was. But this gentleman was basically saying that, like, women in music now, very vulgar. They like, this is who the young people have to look towards. And he also mentioned, male talent also everything's just very vulgar. Like, this is what our young kids have to look to, right?
But see, so again, like, to what Amy's saying is double standards, right? That vulgarity, that type of fucking language and putting yourself out there like that. But you want your husband or your significant other to respect you. Like, you have to respect yourself before you expect someone else to respect you.
Right, but respect to what degree and to what level, and applicable to where.
So if you're going around calling your friend a bitch, or you're letting your homegirl call you a bitch.
Hold on. Let's just look at it from his context, right? Like, it's specifically in the music industry with female artists or whatever
sex.
Being, wouldn't you respect her bank account?
No, because
men can easily bypass how you got those funds and just look at the amount of funds that you got and be like, oh, okay, cool. I respect that.
I think most, because men, you still want men want other men to respect them.
Right. So, right? Like drug dealers, that's not a moral or ethical thing.
As a man.
But that's okay.
As a man, I'm not going to respect another man if he can't, like, tell his girl to stop putting her shit out there.
What?
Like, you're okay with your girl doing that? All right, cool.
If he's saying, like, hey, the checks are coming in, and what I respect is the lifestyle that we live. What I respect is the opportunities that we get to go anywhere around the world because of what that revenue is bringing in.
So that's the traditional part about it, the values, right? Because you're saying if he's looking at her check, if we're looking at our grandparents or our great grandparents, did any of those grandfathers or great grandfathers looked at how much their wife could bring in?
Well, like, okay, so, like, think about it, right? Let's say one of my kids ends up becoming this, like, explicit social media or whatever, like the total opposite of what you ever want your grandparents to look at. But what if one of my kids becomes this successful super billionaire individual that got there in a not quote unquote respectable way to certain people in my family or to just the general public? But now this multi-billionaire income has now pumped money and funds in and has changed a multitude of lives within our family. No one's going to respect that because of the way that it was procured?
I guess it depends on what you value. Going back,
if you value the growth of your family, if you value generational wealth, if you value investment, that's good, right? Does it matter where the source comes from, right? If you think about where certain money came that opened big businesses, and you found out it wasn't clean business. Oh shit, that's not like Shein, right? The way that they make their clothes, the things that they take advantage of.
I can guarantee you, because just the background that I've been around, like if there's dirty money down here, there's dirtier money up there.
Everywhere. Yeah.
All right, so obviously there's that, but if you glorify money more than you glorify like actual, like moral.
Right, but if that's a part of the thing,
okay,
right? So if you know that glorifying money in public is going to give you that income, whether you believe that's true or not, why wouldn't you use those assets?
If you had a husband that made a significantly amount above you, slinging his fucking dick around, and other women everywhere he went are trying to do, and men are men, so they're going to react a certain way.
Right.
You're just going to turn a blind eye because the money is right. So money is worth more than morale for you.
Well, I would say that those are two different things, right?
Well, no,
like
they have
that,
to be two different things.
Right.
But which one weighs more?
Right. So I would hope that the betterment of my family, or the betterment of my security, or the benefit of my own like being and life, if that improves, if that's better, if that gives my offspring a better shot at anything, cool. Then I just need financially and opportunity wise, then I just need to learn how to separate sex from reality, or sex from daily domesticated things.
So imagine the children you have now. Seeing your significant other slinging his shit around for that amount of money.
Right.
I'm pretty sure the kids you have now, specifically one I have in mind, would be like, yo, mom, you're better than that.
Yes and no, because I've put my kids through a lot of strange situations. But I would hope that they would look at, just like I look at things, right? Like you have to look at things with an open heart and an open mind. And without
So look at, here it is. Can my partner not be sexy in public because other people would think they were sexy? The issue is not that they're sexy in public. It's the issue is what you're inviting in public. You could be sexy all you want. You could look as good as you want to look. But if you're inviting people to touch.
Define inviting people.
If you're, okay, so because if that person makes more money, come touch me.
What?
You're okay with that person touching. You make good money, so I'll let you touch. Go ahead. As long as the money's in the bank. Go ahead and touch my husband.
Okay, but see, this is what I'm saying. Like, so if you're saying like a person, like if they're sexy, if they're just walking down the street in their full sexiness, right? In their full, however they're dressed or however the aura that they're giving out, right? How is that an invitation? That's what I'm saying. Like how is that?
Because you're talking about money. So if money's involved,
how does money play involved in this situation? Because
you're saying that the money, like if they're saying like if they make more money, then you're going to be okay with it.
I'm not even thinking about the money part anymore. I'm just thinking about just being how you want to be.
Well, no, you could obviously be how you want to be and do all that shit, but we're talking about like. What are you looking at as the value in your relationship? The money, or like, hey, just maybe stop doing that shit.
What it should be, the value. What the value should be in any relationship is one honoring one's own expression and one's own freedom and one's own ability to be who they are, how they are. If you can accept someone and love someone and be with someone like that.
I mean, obviously, right now. See,
that's the goal.
I think everyone's looking at it like, oh, like this was saying that. No, I'm not. If my wife wants to dress a certain way and she wants to look a certain way, that's fine. When I say invitation, I'm saying like, oh, I got to be okay with not the way you dress.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me just ask a hypothetical question. Let's say Samantha signed on to a website. And the website was like this crazy thing, like, I don't know, send me your bra after an 8-hour day or after a workout. And people paid Samantha a shit ton of money for her to wear bras and send them to people after a workout. Shit ton of money. Like, we're talking like $1 million a year. You wouldn't be okay with her doing that?
You do it, dude. Just don't touch her.
So touching is the big thing.
And that's my point. My point is not what you wear. I think everyone
or what you do.
Everybody's looking at it like, oh, I can't just wear. No, I'm not saying you can't. You can wear whatever the fuck you want to wear.
Just don't touch.
But you also got to understand.
Samantha would totally do, by the way.
You got to understand, like like each person's individual, right? Like everybody has certain standards. So if I'm saying you could dress, if she wants to fucking shake your shit around, shake your shit around. Don't think, because there are people that are out there that would think that, well, this is an invitation. And this is what I mean by saying an invitation. There's some people that don't understand that it's not okay to touch. Just because she looks that way doesn't mean you have to touch her.
Right. So, and I get that, right? Because I remember when Alina went out for her, like she was turning 18 and she was going to this like Club Sevilla or something. I don't remember what club she was going to. She was going out with Alina looked totally cute and hot. And I was like, please do not go out like that. I was like, no.
Well, because you understand the safety behind it.
It was a safety thing for me. She's like, what? And I was like, look, although I wish that you could really like truly enjoy this moment and feel safe in that moment, that is not how it's going to be. And I wasn't going with her. She was going with her cousins and her aunt. They were all going to take her. And I was just like, this was her first experience in a club and a whole thing. And I was like, fuck, this is not going to be what you think it's going to be. And I was worried about that. But that's
because you know that. But it's one of those things where it's like, well, you're going to have to experience it. And if it leads to something that we don't wish upon anybody, then that would suck, right? But
yeah,
again, my issue is not what you wear. My issue is, like, don't be surprised by the invitation that it provokes to people that don't understand.
Okay, let me ask another hypothetical situation. What if somebody wanted to hire your wife?
You're right. It's not not a brand. It's not necessarily an invitation. It would be an invitation to the person who doesn't actually understand that, is what I'm saying. Like, if your mindset is immature and you can't look at a woman that is dressed like provocatively because it makes her feel comfortable,
isn't that a natural reaction for any sex to do that though? If you
touch?
See, if you see an attractive person,
you could
like,
see.
you're like,
if you could see it, I say it all the time. Like, look, if I see a handsome man, I'm like, yo, that dude's fucking handsome as shit. Mm-hmm. That's just a natural fucking reaction, right? But does that mean because I think he's handsome, I go fucking touch him? That's
so okay. So let me ask you this. Okay, you get the opportunity to meet Alicia Keys.
Okay.
You're not gonna tell me that like a little tiny piece of you wants to be like, oh, Alicia. Just that.
No, you've seen the people that I've met that I have been like, that I have expressed to you, like, yo, this food, like if that food's there or this person's there, I'd be fucking like, I might fanboy out on it. And we've been in the presence of those people.
Yes, and sometimes, right? Like sometimes you do just gotta, because you can't get the words out.
And then you gotta remember though too, I'm the guy. I met Catherine McPhee and I didn't even know. I had a full blown conversation, and I told her, I said, hey, like you look good in your dress, like it looks nice. Good choice, right? And we just had a normal ass conversation. She's like, I gotta be back. I'll be back. I gotta go like take care of a presentation.
I have to go do a red carpet.
So we were already in the event. So she was like, I gotta go make this presentation. So she goes and does the presentation, and I told Samantha about it, and she was like, well, who was it? So when we figured it out, she was like, it's fucking Catherine McPhee, fool. How do you not know? So again, when it comes to like people like that, like, it's just, I think as individuals, because not everybody's gonna think the way I think, right?
Right.
Like, if you look attractive in an outfit and I say, hey man, you look good, I'm going to say that. But there are other men, and you've experienced this, there are other men that will physically show you that you look attractive. Right? Mm-hmm. Those are the people that I'm saying that see it as an invitation. I'm not calling it an invitation. I'm saying the people that react in that way are the ones that perceive it as an invite, per se. Right?
What's an appropriate invite then? There
is no appropriate invite, because
I would hate to be a man in these days now. Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
I would hate to like just not be able to read the signs right. Like, you totally misread something.
Oh yeah, exactly. I think Not 8 Brands, like, I don't think Not 8 Brands really understanding what I'm saying.
What are you saying?
He's saying assault is assault. Yeah, obviously. But what I'm saying is, you got to kind of think in the mindset of other people. Mm-hmm. Not in your expectation of yourself. You got to think like there's a fucking weirdo over there. The way you did with your daughter. Like, I don't want you to wear that when you go to the club.
I was so worried about her.
You were thinking in the mindset of those people who would see how she's dressed and then she looks gorgeous.
And I wanted to protect her. And I was like, I don't want you to feel this.
Because why?
Gross experience.
Because the way they're looking at how she's dressed is considered to them an invitation to do or act a certain way, because they're not mature enough to understand that it's not. That's just how she is expressing herself. That's not who she's. Me saying I want, like, if I have a nice body, and I do, but if I have like a nice body and I want to dress a certain.
Vinny is inviting you. You can touch Vinny, and he's not gonna. Because you know why? Because he's gonna make you dinner before.
I don't know. I'm fucking heavy-handed. Any way I touch anybody is considered a fucking assault.
Same.
but it's like you're the same way you looked at it. Like, you looked at it in that aspect of those people looking at your daughter a certain way, because you understood. That's them saying the way she's dressed is an invitation.
Yeah.
Not you saying it's an invitation.
No, right.
You're thinking
these motherfuckers are just gonna go in any opportunity that they can.
Exactly.
And I knew that it was gonna like kill her. Like, I'm like, this is just what it is.
And see, exactly. And we've had this conversation, not a Brent, Rickie Lee and myself, where women should be around good, strong guys that protect them. But unfortunately, in this world, because most men value money over moral, most of them aren't strong or willing to protect.
Which is, oh my God, that reminds me of a story. I was getting a tattoo in fucking the city of Commerce one time. And there was this like young guy in the front of the store. Like, he was training and he was practicing. And the guy who was finishing up my tattoo, like, he was taking forever. And then it just ended up just being me and him in the tattoo shop by ourselves. And I remember telling this kid that I had just met that night, I was like, can you please stay?
See, he only has a problem with the word invitation. That's really all it is, which is understandable. And I'm not mad at it. But, I mean, at the end of the day, if I was to see it, I wouldn't just say, hey, it's an like, I would react a certain way to it. And I think people who know me know how I would react to seeing something like that.
But let me just take this someplace completely different. I mean, aren't these all just chemical reactions?
Yeah.
Whether they're invitations or not. Aren't these all just like natural feelings, natural emotions? Whether they're right or wrong, people are still feeling these things. People are still moved by these things.
But you're not saying it makes it right or wrong.
Right. I'm not saying it makes it right or wrong. I'm saying like these things, these urges, these reactions, these responses, they are a thing for people.
Yeah.
Like it's a thing. Not like nobody wants it, but
yeah. We went like, I think we covered everything.
We did. It was a good episode. We've been here for an hour and 48 minutes, and I'm supposed to be asleep by now because I got a long ass day tomorrow.
Oh, no. Mm-hmm. Not me. No, I do. I got
Aren't you going to the shop?
Got a long ass fucking weekend.
Chop shop.
No, chop shop.
Chop chop.
Don't say it like that. That's not.
Well, I'm saying you chop hair at the shop. What's going on?
See, so now, and he's saying sure, but women have to put themselves in check, and society tends to give men a free pass. I don't know about the free pass part. That's subjective.
What does history say?
That's subjective because I got to raise my son understanding that if him and a woman did the same crime, chances are he'd probably be disciplined more than the woman would.
Depending on the state.
Huh?
Depending on the state.
Yeah, depending
and the people
on the
involved.
state.
Well, there's definitely a lot of like variables in that. So
yeah,
this was really good, Ray.
It was.
We gotta have 98 Brand in the studio.
We do.
We gotta have 98 Brand. This is your official invitation to have a voice on this frequency. We want to know who you are.
I would say my word is based off of my experience. And again, if you ever listen to our conversations in the past about anything, I'm speaking of my experience because my son looks like me, lives in the same neighborhood as me, and I understand numbers and I understand like the facts, but there's also actions and things that exist, like being stopped in your own fucking house for going home, or being stopped down the street putting gas in your car and being asked, what are you doing when the nozzle's in the fucking tank of the car?
Right.
So those are numbers that can't justify my experience. And when I speak of the things that I'm speaking of, I'm speaking based off of my experience and not actual facts. And I got to relay these messages of the things that I go through in life for my son as something as a experience, right? So when I say women, or there's men out there that see the way women dress as an invitation, it's because I've seen men, and I've been around men who, when they look at a woman dressed provocatively or looking as gorgeous as they do, I've heard the conversations that they've had and their way of thinking being expressed. And those are the things that I'm saying. That's not me saying, oh, it's an invitation. Like, I get what you're saying as far as it being like, it's just wrong. Like, you're abusing a woman no matter what type of form it is. And
I didn't like that I had to like preface all.
Yeah, you don't want to.
I didn't like that I had to preface Alina's night out with, "Oh my God, this is about to be a really shitty experience with you." But my experiences told me that. Like, I knew leading up to that moment, like, what she was about to experience, and she did experience that. Yeah. She came back like, "Mama, you were right." I was like, "It sucks. I'm sorry."
Yeah, but life is about experience. Yes. A lot of times for me, and when I say this, the things I'm speaking of are for me. Analytics depends on where you're from. Depends on, again, I hate to say it because it doesn't make sense, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure not a brand based off of the way you're speaking. The color of your skin is fairer than the color of mine, and your appearance probably doesn't look anywhere close to mine. So when I drive, I am looked at a different way than you are. And I'm not in no way trying to be disrespectful, but that's just based off of my experience and conversing with people. And when people tell me, just look at the facts. Well, if you're looking at facts, you've never experienced the shit that I've been through.
So facts versus experiences.
For me.
Well, yeah, for all individuals, right?
Yeah.
Like, because we can't be generalized.
So.
Yes.
But that's it.
Natalie, please. We hope you are back. We had a great episode. Thank you guys for joining us again this Friday night. It was a good one. As per usual.
Peace, homies.
In the Middle East. Oh my God, that was a 90s thing and now it's relevant still.
Vénganse. Vamos a jugar hoy, hoy, hoy. Vamos a cantar hoy, hoy, hoy. Vamos a llorar hoy, hoy, hoy. Vamos a fumar.